Hello hello everyone. So I will be giving you to a walkthrough to the chapter Essential Process of Modeling, which is from the book Fundamentals of Business Process Management. So we will go through some mini cases and how the business process works. So I will walk you through agenda first. Here's a quick overview that what we will be covering today. Well, we'll start with a brief introduction to process modeling and then discuss why it's an essential part of the business improvement. Then I'll explain the core elements of business process management, the language used to represent them, process visually. After that, we will explore how different gateway structures like exclusive, parallel, and inclusive decisions shape the flow of the process. And we will see how the loops and repetitions are represented as well. So we'll then look at how the data resources are modeled, go over some best practices, and then some common mistakes that they are occurring during the model processing, as well as, and then finally I'll be walking to a short case example before wrapping up the key takeaways. Thank you. So we'll head on to the next slide. So before we dive into the techniques, let's start with why we even model the business process. In the first place, business process modeling helps us to visualize how work actually happens, who does what, when, and with which information or systems. It gives everyone a shared understanding to the process, which is often hard to see when the people only focuses on their own specific task. Modeling also helps us identify bottlenecks, insufficiencies, and opportunities for the improvement as well. In this chapter, we will explore how BPMN, that's its business process model and notation, sorry, helps to represent processes through events, activities, and data and resources as well. By the end, we will understand how the elements connect to build a complete logical picture and of how a process runs, how it can be improved or automated as well. This table summarizes the essential business process management and notation building blocks. Events are instantaneous and triggers or outcomes, while activities represent the task with duration. So gateway control decision making or parallel paths and sequence flows connect to the steps logically. Data objects show how the information moves, and the token concepts helps to visualize the state of each process instance. So understanding these core elements gives a foundation to the model any business process accurately. So the first question we should always ask is why model a process at all? The main reason is understanding. In any organization, people often know their own task well, but rarely understand the entire flow of the start to finish. A process model gives everyone that big picture view. Next is communication. It bridges the gap between the business and IT. A good model uses a standard visual language that both manager and developers can read and discuss. Once we have a clear model, we can analyze to find inefficiencies such as delays, unnecessary steps, and the rework loops. That understanding leads to standardization and helping teams follow consistent practices. So finally, model acts as a blueprints for the automation and the continuous improvement. Then they help us to translate manual work flows into the digital systems or automating the same systems or simulate the changes before implementing them, which is very essential part of the business process. This business process model gives us a universal way to visualize and communicate how the process works. Think of the business process model as a grammar of the process diagrams. It uses symbols to represent events, actions, and decisions in a way that is easy to understand across the business and IT teams. The most essential elements are events, activities, and sequence flow. Events are the things that happen, like receiving an order or completing a payment. They start or end the processes. Activities are the actions that take time. For example, confirming an order or shipping a product. Then comes the sequence loads. Show how the actions are connected. What happens next? Then comes the gateways. Gateways and control logic. They represent choices or parallel paths, data objects that show how the information moving through the processes and the pools and the lanes clarify who is responsible for what. So once you master these core symbols, you can model almost the business process clearly, consistently. A whole complete blueprint of the business. So no matter how complex it looks first. The next part that is branching and merging structures. So in business process model, branching and merging define how the process flow behaves when it needs to make decisions or run multiple paths. So the exclusive gateways, or we can say XOR, is the simplest. It represents a decision where only one path can continue. It's like if or else in programming. So once one path completes, the process continues. The parallel gateway, that we can say it's AND, runs multiple branches at the same time. For example, after confirming an order, you might send an invoice and prepare a shipment simultaneously. When both finish, the process merges again. So after that comes the inclusive gateway, or OR, it's OR. Is more flexible. It lets one or more branches run depending on the conditions. It's useful for the cases like sourcing from multiple suppliers or handling the partial approvals. So, however, it must merge carefully to avoid the synchronization problems. Then the final comes the loop presents repetitions, a task or a decision that cycles until a condition is met. For example, an approval process that repeats until a document is finalized. So together, these structures define all possible flow patterns in business process model, giving us expressive power to model anything from simple decisions to the complex parallel operations. So far, we have focused on the control flow, the order of activities, but a process also involves the information and people as well, which will be represented through this business process model notation, data, and the resource perspectives. The data perspectives tracks what information is created, is used, or stored during the process. So data objects are temporary, like invoices or reports that exist only for one process instance. Data stores are persistent, like customer database or archive that outlives the process. Dotted lines, called the data associations, link activities to the data used or produced. So this resources perspective focuses on who or what performed the work. Pool represent external participants such as customers or partners. Lane divide work among internal roles like department or systems. And the message flows connect these participants. For instance, sending an order confirmation from the company to the customer by combining these two perspectives. So we both captured the what data, what that would be a data, and who that would be a resources. So giving a complete picture of how the process actually functions in the real world scenario. Even though business process model notation is a powerful notation, clarity is always more important than complexity. So we'll go through first best practices which should be performed, and also we'll discuss with some common pitfalls as well. So the first best practice is to name everything clearly. Activity should use a verb noun patterns like approve order, like events use a noun with a past participle like invoice sent. It makes model instantly readable. Next, always model with a purpose. If your goal is to communicate with management, keep the model simple. If it's for automation and more technical details, so be clear with the technical details. Align your gateways. For every decision split, there should be a matching join. And before finalizing the model, perform the token game. So mentally walk through the process as if tokens move along the flows. This helps to catch the deadlocks or the bottlenecks or the parts that never end. On the flip side, that will be a pitfall. So what are the common pitfalls we can discuss is that avoid common mistakes like overloading your diagram with unnecessary gateways or skipping labels on events. Also, don't mix up the sequence flows. That is very important. Use within the process and message flows that is used between the participants. Finally, remember that business process model notation is not about drawing the pretty diagrams. It's about making the process understandable, reusable, and accurate. A clean, purposeful model communicates better than a complicated one. Always remember this. Through a mini case example to know this chapter more better. Let's see how all business process management and notation elements come together in a real process. The order fulfillment case. It's a very simple case, so everyone can understand. So I have chose this case. The process starts when a customer order is received. The sales team confirms it, and then the system checks if the order is valid. That's a that's our exclusive. That's XOR, which we had discussed there on the previous slides. It's the XOR gateway. Once confirmed, two tasks: shipping the product and sending the invoice. happen in parallel. Model using AND gateway. The process waits for the payment confirmation then. After that, looping back it if payment fails and a repetition pattern. So when payment is received, the order is archived, marking the end event. We also model the data objects like invoice and purchase order. Also, resources such as warehouse or finance department. This is a simple scenario integrates every concepts we have discussed. Events, activities, gateways, loops, data, and resources, forming a complete logical realistic process model. This was a small walkthrough to the business process so you can understand how can we model the business process easily just for a small concept of order confirmations. Include business process management and notation is more than just a set of symbols. It shared a large language that brings together people, data, and technology. A well-designed process model makes complex operations easy to understand and analyze. That's what is the critical phase of the business. Remember, focus on clarity. Keep your models purpose driven and always align with your gateways and flows properly. So incorporate both the data and the resource perspectives to reflect how work actually happens in the organizations. And then implementing the play with the token game as well. So token game is also an interesting and important part where we can from our side understand the game, that where are the deadlocks, where are the bottlenecks, which we have discussed same thing in the previous slide, to ensure that our model behaves correctly. Okay, this is the end of our slide. Thank you for listening. I hope this session helps you approach this business process management model with the confidence. I'm happy to take any questions or discussions in the comment down below. Thank you.